You did?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Perfectly. I mean, I am very sensitive skin. I don't look it, but I have a lot of sensitive skin.
Mine too. My skin looks like it'd be thick as leather, but it's thin till everything it touches. You can see how I skin my legs. That's the reason I have to wear pants. I wear dresses and go bare-legged. But I just keep them skinned up. The least little thing will do that. And I won't know it sometimes. Of course, I've stuck car doors in them and screen doors down at my ankles. That hurt. It bled.
So is it Lisbeth or Elizabeth?
Elizabeth. My name's Margaret Elizabeth, but nobody knows I'm Margaret. I didn't either. I had to put in Social Security. But that is Margaret Elizabeth, my name.
And what's your last name?
Pritchett.
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 That's a pretty name.
TT sounds funny, don't it?
TT?
Pritchett.
Now, Elizabeth, when did you move here to the village?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't old enough to remember moving here. You want to know how old I am now?
If you want to tell me.
82. I'll be 83 in December. You know why I love this place. It's the only place I've ever been. I was little when we moved here.
Why'd you come here?
Oh, my grandpa and grandma Lindsay, that's who my daddy was the Lindsay. And they had moved here, and I don't know why they moved. You know, I never did hear. We lived in the country, and we lived in, on the other man's farm and worked on hives, which our hive wasn't very much. We didn't have nothing. And then my daddy come down here, and he got a job at King Plow Shop, so yonder somewhere. And we stayed with Grandma and Grandpa. There's a house full of us down there. And till he got a job in the mill. And then when he got a job in the mill, we got 2 rooms down there in front of where the mill was. It was in front of the mill then. And so we stayed here.
So how old were you when your daddy started working in the mill?
I don't know. I really don't.
Did your mama work in the mill too?
Yeah. Sure did.
Did they work at the same time?
Yeah. We stayed at home. If they was working, we stayed at home. You didn't have to have somebody to keep kids. They minded then. And, everybody around would, I guess, kindly see after them. It wasn't working, but they didn't have no trouble with us. Now, we moved over yonder off of Bolton Road, and my mom and daddy, there wasn't no bridge across the railroad then, and we lived over there, and they had to walk, and they come down the railroad to go to the work every morning. Well, my grandma and my aunt and a cousin had to come live with us after Grandpa Whitfield died. And so they wasn't living with us. Yeah, they was living with us then. And that morning, my grandma got up. My mom and daddy had done come to work, and she got up. And people used to keep things setting up on top of a safe, not a cabinet. It was an old-timey safe. Well, she put her foot up on a chair round to reach up to get us some sugar. I remember putting sugar that deep on my soap. It was good.
On your what?
Pour coffee over a biscuit, good old brown biscuit. Make soakies out of it. That's what you call it. And she fell and broke her hip. And me and Tom, my brother, he was next to me, Well, we come down that railroad before daylight that morning and went to the mill to get my mom and daddy. And I don't even remember going back home. But Grandma never did get well. She stayed in the bed a long time, and then she died.
Was that the first time you walked inside the mill?
I didn't go inside. They had a watchman, and I had to tell him. He went in and got them.
When was the first time you walked into the mill?
Oh, I was trying to get a job then. No, I wasn't trying to get a job. My mama took me through there one time, and I couldn't hear it. It made awful noise, and some of it'd get big sometime, and that scared me. And I guess then I guess about 14 years old. I went to work when I was 14 and a half. Well, we went through there, and Mr. Carroll, he was a good man. He was superintendent. And he told Mama, he said, well, why don't you get her, let her come to work down here? And she asked me if I wanted to. Of course, I was going to have to quit anyhow. My aunt was sick, and my mama, you know, couldn't do everything. So I had to quit school, and I went to work. And I worked there. Well, I had retired at 62 and was still working, you know, and making what I could when I retired. And so I worked from 14 to, from the time I was 14 and a half till I was 62.
How many hours a week did you work when you first started?
Oh, well, I think the regular hands worked 8 hours, but I didn't work that long of learning. I think I went in, it might have been 7 o'clock. I'm pretty sure it was, and I'd work till 2 or something like that. But I didn't stay. They wouldn't let me stay 8 hours. But I had to go to the courthouse in Atlanta to sign up to go to work. You know, when you was young, you had to. Of course, there was people down there that went to work. They said at 7 years old, but I was about 14 and a half when I went to work.
Went to work at 7 years old.
Yeah. Lord, you ought to have heard Ida Salmons and them talk about it. They was little kids went to work in there. And I wasn't nothing but a kid when I went to work. But you see, I was learning and I couldn't work as long.
Did they pay you while you were learning?
Yeah, they was paying me, but I can't remember how much it was.
And once you learn your job, what was your job, by the way?
Spinning. Well, when you learn your job, they'll put you on a spinning frame. Had two sides to it, you know, and I think they had 2 sides. But anyway, they'd put you on 2 sides till you got to where you could run them, and then they'd put you on up till you got to where you could run 6. But when it's closed down, you're running more than that, and I mean running. They got rough the last few years.
And tell me about as the as the years progressed. Tell me about your work. What were the conditions like? How many hours a day were you working? How much money did you make?
Well, I married in 1924. Yeah, 24.
So you were 24 years old.
No, I went to, let's see. In the year of 1924, I went to work, and
That's when you were 14?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I just kept on till, and then I married in 24.
When you were 14?
No, no. I was older than that. I think I was 16 in December after I married in July. Or I was.
And you, okay, I guess I just got mixed up. And you started working in what year?
Well, I don't know what year it was I went to
okay.
work. But anyway, I worked as long as it
Well,
run.
you must have gone to work in 1922 because you were 14, and then you were 16 when you got married in 24.
Well, I won't say I was 16. I might have been. Yeah, I was 16, I guess. I was probably 17 the year I got married, after I got married.
I'm just fixing the mic.
And So you'll just have to ask me from then on, 'cause whatever you want
Well,
to.
when in 1924, how many hours a day were you working by then?
Oh, we was working 10 hours then. Yeah, we worked 10 hours then. I don't know when they passed the 8-hour law. Did Roosevelt do that?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we worked 8 hours a day then.
Now, what? Well, so you worked for about 9 years before Roosevelt passed his NRA law.
I don't know how long.
So could you tell me about the conditions in the mill in the 20s, after 25, around there?
Well, they was good. All the bosses was real good, extra good. And they stayed good till some of them died, you know, and they went to changing bosses, overseers and things like that. Well, it seemed like the more they got, the worse they got. And they'd have, you know, they'd like somebody better than they did others, and they could get by with anything. If they worked and kept their job up, it's all right, and if they didn't. But other people, you know, I guess maybe the people that really wanted to brought it on their own self, or they wouldn't have had to work so hard. But the last few years it run, it got pretty bad.
Now, can you tell me about when Roosevelt made the 8-hour day?
Well,
What do you remember?
I don't remember about all that.
Do you remember when you went from working 10 hours
I
to
don't.
8 hours?
I don't know. I don't really remember. I might have been at home pregnant. I don't know. What year did he do that?
33.
Well, I done gone back to work then. But see, when
That's
you had,
when he started paying $12 a week.
I don't know.
For a 40
when I
hour
married, Henry was making $11 a week as my husband.
And what was his job?
He was run Brownells, and I think I was making 8. Seems like that's what we was making. It wasn't very much.
And that was for 55 hours, I guess.
Yeah. You know, they didn't pay nothing hardly in the mill then. Of course, you know, kept raising every once in a while. And we just had started to making pretty good money when I retired.
Why was it that they were always paying such a low wage to the cotton mill workers?
I don't know. Is any of the rest of them ever pay that low?
The other cotton mills? I think they were, in the South, they were all pretty much
The
low
same.
wage. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I guess, well, you if you had to make a living, you had to do the best you could.
Do you think you would have been able to make ends meet without the house that they provided you with?
No, I don't think I could. See, we didn't pay very much rent. I think was it 25 cents a room, or it finally went up to, seemed like we was paying $1 a week for 2 rooms when we lived in 2 rooms. I'm not sure of that. Might have just been 50 cents.
And how much, I mean, you made $8 and your husband made $12, right? So you had $18 a week. And for 1 week, what did you have to pay out in 1 week? What did that $18 have to cover?
We didn't have lights in the houses then, or water. Now, some of them might have. Them up in there was built, I think, before these down in here was, or probably after these down here was. And some of them had water in it, but it wasn't city water. And some of them had a toilet on the back porch. And some of them had bathrooms, I think. But they didn't put bathrooms in all these houses till right before they sold them.
Really? So they had outhouses in the backyard?
Yep, really did.
And how much did you have to spend on, groceries and the rent and...
Well, I tell you, they had a store, belonged to Whittier Mills, you know, and you could go out there and buy on the credit. And they had little books with money, you know, 50 cents or a dollar, and they had them up to $5 and all of that. You could go and get a dollar book and spend that dollar, or you could get a $5 book or a $2 book and spend that.
Did you do that?
Yeah. And then they finally got ARCO money when my children was little.
What's that?
It's made like money. Do you remember that? Well, I had some of it and I gave it to Peggy. I found it out there in the yard one day. I forgot how much it was. But anyway, it took the place of money, you know. And my oldest daughter, after we moved up here in this house, where right now, they had hedges up and down there, and they had iron stubs drove through them, and that one that was on the corner there had a hole in it, and I could send Ruth to the grocery store, and she'd get out there and drop that money down in that iron stub.
Now, if you bought stuff at that grocery store, then they took it out of your paycheck?
Yeah, they took it out of your check. Mm-hmm.
So how much would you generally come home with at the end of the week after your 55 hours?
Sometimes my husband would have N.B. on his, no balance. After we had 4 kids, you know, it took a lot more to feed them. But we still didn't pay much rent. And we didn't have to pay light bills and water bills. And, well, we drawed water out of the well for years and years, didn't we?
I can remember talking about the wells, but yeah, I guess when I was little, they had to go to the
Yeah.
well.
And another
I
thing.
remember we had a bucket, you know, in the kitchen we had to drink out of.
Uh-huh.
But then after I was about 6 or 7 or 8, we got city. Did we get water then?
No, we had some of them had water, but it come from where the mill got their water, out of that reservoir up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it
But then
comes.
the city put in these faucets around in the yards. It was city water that we could drink. You remember that?
No, I thought that was river water.
Well, some of them were river water. But after we moved up there on the hill, they had this faucet out in the back there for all of those houses around up there.
I don't think they had one down in
And
here.
we'd have to go out there to get our drinking water and bring it in, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a well right down below that next house down there. But I don't know, let's see, they didn't put city water in till it went into the city of Atlanta. It was this Fulton County.
So sometimes he'd come home with NB on his paycheck.
Yeah.
How'd you feel when that happened?
Well, you just had to take it and go on. And another thing, when they paid off, if you drawed $4, it would be 4 silver dollars. Why couldn't I save some of them? I've got 2.
That they gave you?
No, they didn't give it to me. I don't know where Henry got his, but I got one from somebody. I've given them to the kids. And
So now,
it was a good place to live, 'cause everybody seemed like kinfolks, you know. And they had a wash place where we washed our clothes, and they had a bench around each end and one long one across here. And then over on the other side, it would be wash pots. Do you know what a wash pot is?
sure.
We had to fill them full of water. We didn't have to draw the water for that, did we?
You know, I just don't know.
I don't either, but we had to draw it out of the well. I know we used to have to draw it out of the well to
See,
wash.
Didn't they have where the wash pots were? Didn't they have some kind of pump thing y'all could get your water from?
No, it wasn't a pump. It must just, if they had it, it was just a faucet.
Yeah.
And so, is this where all the women would meet?
Yeah, we had a good time. And they had, I didn't have a wash pot. I'd have to wait till somebody else got through washing, you know, and to boil my clothes. You had to rub them on a washboard. And then you put them in, the white ones in, and boiled them. And then you had to rinse them through 3 waters. You had to have 3 wash tubs to rinse them in. And I've still got a rub board, but, well, it ain't at home. I let Chris have it one time, my daughter, and it's still over at her house.
Now,
But we had to hang our clothes out, and sometimes they had things up. They put 2 great big old high things up and put wire on them, you know, for us to hang our clothes on. But sometimes we'd have to wait till other people's clothes got dry to hang ours out.
were you allowed to hang one up near your house?
Yeah, they had one, you know, it's close.
But not on your lawn or not on.
No, it's in the middle of this block
What
here.
if you put one up on your lawn?
Huh?
Were you allowed to put one up on your
No,
lawn?
the company done all that. Whittier Mills done all that. We didn't have to do it. They kept the grass cut, and they had hedges on in front of every house on both sides. Mine would had it on both, did have it on both sides, but we dug them up out there when we moved up here. And then after my husband died, and all the men that used to cut them for us, they died, and I couldn't keep them cut. And they put a new gas pipe down through there, and I told that man, I said, I wished I'd get rid of them hedges. And another one come up the road, and he said, you want to get rid of them? I said, I sure do. And he said, well, my wife's been wanting some, and they're still digging that ditch. And I was fixing to go over at my sister's house. And I said, well, you can have these if you'll get them to dig them up for you. I said, I can't dig them up. If I had, I'd have done it. And he had a pickup truck, but I said, you'll have to have a truck to haul them off in. He said, well, I'm in a pickup truck. And so I went over to my sister's and come back, and they was gone. And I was proud of it because I couldn't cut them. I could cut them, but I just cut what's in front of me. They was pretty, wasn't they?
Are these shrubs from when the company was here?
No,
Now, I'm going to jump a whole bunch, but I know that in 1934 there was a big strike all over the
yeah.
South.
Mm-hmm.
What happened here at Whittier Mills?
Well, we come out on strike, and some of them walked the picket line, and some of them got in a fight down there one day. You know Robert Wallace, he got his throat cut. Of course, it didn't kill him. Him and Roy Johnson, I think, got to fighting. There's, you know, just wasn't too bad. But a lot of them stayed down there in front of the mill picketing. That was when all textile mills went on strike, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that might not have been when he got, it might have been when the Dolphers struck one time, when he got his throat cut.
The Duffers struck later on in the 40s, right?
Yeah, sometime, I don't remember what year.
So what do you remember about 34?
God, I don't know one year then from another. I can't.
Were there big meetings to get people to get out on strike? How did they organize the workers to walk out?
I think they had a place where they'd meet and talk about it. Seems like they did.
Did you ever go?
If I did, I don't remember it. Because they probably had them at night, and I had to stay with my kids.
What about your husband? Did he go?
He might have. I don't remember. I sure don't. I forgot about them strikes.
Were there any people that are still around here that were probably active in any of those strikes then?
Well, no, I doubt it. Do you know of any?
No,
All of the older people that used to live here is already Well, a lot of people moved after they sold houses. A lot of people bought a house somewhere else and moved. And you could get the first chance at the one you was living in. And then if you didn't want it, you know, somebody else. But a lot of them bought them and then sold them and moved somewhere else. But
Well, that you know, that strike was, like I said, part of that big national strike all over the country, and they were hoping to try and unionize these mills,
yeah,
and have better working conditions, and maybe a higher salary, and benefits and that kind of thing.
yeah. Well, we finally got insurance. Of course, we had to pay it down there. But
So you did see some pickets outside the
yeah.
mills. How long did they last? Do you remember?
Well, I guess they lasted till it was over. I just can't remember. I never have thought too much about
Now,
the
were you
strike.
working at the time?
Yeah, I was working.
Did you keep on working?
No, they didn't. Nobody work.
What did you do?
Stayed at home.
Do you remember how many strikes they had, Elizabeth?
I remember the Dolphins was striking one time, and that was the only time. Can you remember any more? I don't think.
Well, tell me about this Doffer strike. I've been hearing about it all day.
Well, I guess they was striking for more money. I don't know.
Were they successful?
Well, I kind of doubt it. I don't know whether they were or not. I really don't. Because my husband wasn't a dolphin. If he'd have been one, you know, I might have remembered more about it. But he didn't.
Yeah.
But this used to be the best place in the world. It's still pretty good. It's still home. I still love it. Always will. I hope I can die here.
Now, is this the house that you brought up your children in?
Well, they was all pretty young when. Well, my oldest daughter married when we lived in that house down below here, the next house down. But the other three married while I was living here.
How were you able to manage to take care of your children and work and do all that?
Well, I had an old maid aunt that she kept them most of the time. Yeah, she stayed with me. But they had a nursery, you know, when we first come here. I don't know, well, for a long, long time after that. The first one they had was out there on the corner, right across from that old building out there, which used to be the company store. And then they moved it on down to the last one on the right, going down Whittier Avenue.
What was the social life around here like?
Well, they didn't have nowhere to go. They just played ball and things around here. Well, the Whittier Mills had a ball team, and everybody liked ball. And that's what my husband liked. He went to ball games. And then he finally got a show up yonder, and I don't know how much it cost to go, but I can remember you got Capitola tokens in your Capitola flour, and my kids went to the show on them Capitola tokens.
That's from the mill? The tokens from the general store?
No, well, wherever you bought that kind of flour at, it
Oh.
was in them. It didn't matter where it come
Oh,
from.
I see, I see.
Yeah. I can't what else you want me to think of?
Well, let's see. Like I said, the one thing that I was really trying to sort of chip away at is this strike.
Well, I don't know much about the strike.
Now, do you think that the the Whittier boys, how do you think they would have dealt with the strike?
Well, I don't guess they liked it. They probably didn't. They might have been a lot of. Did any of them get fired?
I think some of them did.
I believe some of them got fired on account of it. Mm-hmm.
And then they had to move away, of course.
Yeah, if they lived in one of these houses, you had to work in the mill to live in one of these houses. And if they fired you, you had to get out. But sometimes they'd fire you and then take you back.
And then they take you back?
In time, later on. Probably did.
Who do you think who lives in the neighborhood would know much about this strike?
Well, there's been so many new people moved in here. Do you think of anybody to know it?
You've been here as long as anybody as
Well, I'm the oldest.
You've even been here longer than Dixie.
Yeah, I know it.
Because you're older than him.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been here longer than him. I'm the oldest person living here that worked in, I don't mean in age, I mean lived here the longest. Of course, there's people here older than I am, but they didn't come here when I did. Miss Williams, you know her. She's 90-something year old, but she couldn't tell you a thing now. And Ruby Glosson, she's been here a long time, but I don't think she was here during the strike. And
Do you recall reading the newspaper and hearing about the strike all over the state?
no, I don't guess William took the newspaper. We took the Constitution for years and years. Yeah, I guess we was taking it, but I never did read that much about it.
Because there was a lot of violence all over Georgia, and Talmadge sent in the National Guard.
No, they didn't do that out here. They did. I didn't know nothing about it.
One thing that a lot of mills did, if they didn't get the National Guard to come in, they would deputize their workers.
Well, they might have done that. Mm-hmm. But them Dolphers, when they struck, I don't think that was, I believe they struck maybe after that other big strike. But everybody struck then. The mill was closed down because I'd have been afraid to go in there. But I think when I told you about Mr. Wallace, of course he's dead now, getting his throat cut, I think him and Roy Johnson, you remember him. Joe Williams' husband, you know.
Oh, yeah, I remember something about
Well, I think they was the only one that ever had a fight that I can remember. And Roy Johnson, he's pretty rough. And Mr. Wallace, I don't think he really wanted to fight. He was just maybe talking too much or something. Really got into it. I don't know. But I wasn't down there. But he never did get past going, you know. I think they took him to the doctor, but he hadn't been dead too many years, has he? But I just don't know of a soul down in here. And I don't know if Dixie Edwards was working during that Dolpher strike because he might have been in the Army.
Could have been, come to think of it.
Yeah.
But in, say, 1934, when the Whittiers were still here,
Mm-hmm.
you don't remember too much about that strike?
So the Scots, it was the Scots, 34, the Whittiers were still here?
Do you think so, Elizabeth?
Done what?
You think the Whittiers were still here in 34?
I don't. They probably was. Yeah, I believe they was here then.
Did they stay on here any after Mr. Scott?
No,
took it
they
over?
didn't stay after Mr. Scott took it over. He.
You know about when Mr. Scott took
No,
it over?
I don't. I really don't.
But now, the Whittiers were here when Roosevelt went in there and made those changes, weren't y'all got more money.
And
and
past the
less hours.
8-hour law,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what year. Do you know what year that was?
33.
33. Well, Whittier's was here then. I know, because they was here. Because Thomas was born in 32. And I don't know what year Mr. Scott died. But, you know, they was good to us when Mr. Scott and Will Salmons and Aubrey and, you know, all of them. Well, Mr. Will and Aubrey was, Mr. Will was overseer and Aubrey was next to him. And they was good.
How were they good to you?
Huh?
How were they good to
Well,
you?
they just treated you right and didn't talk to you hateful. And, you know, you just liked them. But then when Mr. Scott, when he died, Grady Salmons and Miriam Duncan and them bite after he died. Well, that's Mr. Sams and Miriam Duncan and Grady Salmons, I reckon, was the ones that bought it.
That was in the 50s, wasn't it, or 60s?
More in the
Late
60s,
50s, late-
more
Was
in
that
the
Desi's
60s.
husband that bought the mill?
No, he was already dead.
Oh.
One of his sons by a previous marriage.
Oh.
It was
But they didn't hold on to it too long, did they?
No, I don't know what happened. They said it, you know, it was about to close down on account of fire and things. But I don't know why it closed down, but it really hurt me when it did. I was still a working and making what I could when it closed down.
What were you
know-
doing?
Huh?
What were you doing?
I was still spinning in the mill.
How many frames were you doing when you were retired?
Oh gosh, that was a lot of them then. They put in new frames and they was long and you had to run more sides and and then if you ever stopped one, they'd have a fit. They wanted you to get the hanks. They didn't care what kind of yarn you made. And they had them running so fast you couldn't stand it. But they had put in a lot of new things, hadn't they?
Mama didn't like their new equipment.
I didn't either. I didn't like the new. The old was the best.
Well, now, people have told me a couple of things about the old equipment. One is that when they had to go on to 8 hours, that they were still expected to produce as much as they did in 10 hours in 8 hours.
Well,
Do you recall that?
no, I don't think they put any more work on us. I don't know when they started putting so much work on us.
Did they ever bring a Beto man into?
Oh yeah, the
Tell me
Beto
about-
system. I can't remember nothing. I forgot that. Yeah, we had one, but
Do you know what the Beto system is, Martha?
Yeah. Trying to get more work out of you.
Did anyone ever stand behind you and with a clock?
Oh yeah. You know, they would stand, follow you up and down the alley, you know, and count every end. You don't know what end is, but the yarn come from up here off of cotton or wool or whatever it was and run down here, and it was on a tube then, a bobbin they called it. And they'd count every end that come down and follow you so many hours a day. Yeah, I've had that done. But it didn't bother me because I know the people that's doing it. Betty Smith, Betty Bernard, she done it a while. And Henry Hales, and he was just like one of my kids, and Betty Joe was too. I didn't mind them, but you know, if it had been somebody strange, I probably wouldn't have liked it. But it didn't bother me. But I just worked and done the best I could. Because I believe I like to work. I don't like to fool around. If I got something to do, I want to do it. Not that I'm all that smart. Now I'm miserable. That's the reason I want to keep going.
Elsie said if she could, she'd be still working down there.
Elsie Turner, I would too. If it had been a running when Henry died, I'd went back to work. Lord, yeah, I would never stay here all day long.
Tell me about the day that the mill shut down.
I cried.
Where were you?
I was down there. I was still working part-time. And my husband was 7 years older than I was. And he come down there to get me that day. But the work was so hard then, or I was getting older or something. It wasn't all me, 'cause I liked to work. But I'd be so tired when I'd come home every day. And he'd cook beans and bread and things like that. He was good, and wash dishes and get up and cook breakfast, which he done that as long as he was able after we married.
Your
All-
husband cooked breakfast in
Yeah.
your house
Mhm.
every day?
Yeah, well, when all the children was at home, I'd have to get up and make biscuits every morning. But he fried the sausage and eggs, or, whatever we had, he done it all except making the biscuits. And I made biscuits till I had to go in the hospital one time, and he stayed at home by himself. And he started eating canned biscuits. Well, when I come home, wasn't nobody here then but me and him. And so we canned biscuits a long time, and then we quit eating them and eating toast every morning. But he fixed it. And when
Do you think he was one of the only men in the village that cooked?
No, I don't. Well, I never did ask nobody else, but I don't think he would have been.
Daddy cooked some. And I think he might have helped with breakfast a little bit.
Well, Henry cooked breakfast just up till he got sick one time. And after so long, he started back to cooking it. But after he retired and I was still working, he got up and done it all. 'Cause we just eat toast and jelly or something like that. Sometimes scrambled
I bet
eggs.
you had a real good marriage.
Yeah, we did.
I could tell.
Now, he used to drink when we first married, but when he quit, he quit.
If somebody drank in the village, what did the mill do?
Sometimes they'd fire them. If they stayed out a whole lot, I guess they did. But he never did get fired for getting drunk, but he used to get drunk. But when he quit, he quit. A lot of people used to. There used to be a lot of people that drank down in here, wasn't there? Every Saturday and
Why do you think people drank so much here?
I don't know. I think some of them drank because somebody else was. Don't you guess? Probably, I don't know. But I don't know. Now, Albert Callahan's been here a long time.
Yeah, I think Mama said that they came here in about 47 or something. No, 37 or...
I don't remember when he come here. Of course, the Gasways come here, I guess, before
Yeah.
he did. Because, we married Hannah Gasway. But there's nobody on Whittier Avenue that's been here any longer than that, as long as I have. Nobody on Whittier Avenue, very few of them has worked down there. Maud Adams and Willeen and Miss Martin and the Stanleys.
Well, now, Maud Adams, how long do you think? Do you think she's been here as long as you have?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't believe there's anybody living here that worked here as long as I have.
Did you keep a garden?
A garden? No. When we first moved here, my grandpa, Lindsay, had a garden. It was right up yonder where the brick company's at now. And the first airplane I ever saw, I was up there on that hill one day, and it went over, and I didn't know what it was. And we was picking peas. And Grandpa says, "There's an airplane." Well, Lord, I just looked at that thing. I couldn't imagine how it was staying up there.
Have you ever been in an airplane?
One time, but I don't have no business in them. my niece married a man that was a pilot, and when Henry was 62 years old, the day he was 62 years old, he took us over here to Fulton County Airport, and he took us to Stone Mountain and back. And I got on there, and Willoughby and Henry and me and him, and him and Willoughby was in the front, and me and Henry's in the back. And Henry said, "Shug," he called me Shug. He said, "Look down there at the river." Said, "It don't look like that wide." He said, "You see it?" I said, "Uh-huh," and I didn't more see that river. I didn't look out. I'm scared of high places. And when we got back and got off, I says, "Well, thank God, I'll never do it again unless I have to. And I won't. I don't have no business up there." That's the way I am about sending people to the moon and all that. I don't believe in it. If God intended for us to be up there, we'd be there. Don't you believe? I think it's foolish to spend money for it when they could spend it here on earth and do people good. Because they don't get no good out of it. They ain't going to be long till the end of time, and what are they going to have? They ain't going to have nothing going up there. They won't be a bit better off than I am. Now, everybody might not feel like that, but I don't like it.
What was the best part about living in this community?
Because it was good people. They was really good. When somebody got sick around here, well, they, you know, if it's bad off and you had to sit up with them at night, your house was full of people day and night too. And when anybody died, well, it was the same way. And if you had troubles, everybody else had them. And if, you know, it's just like one big happy family. People has asked me time after time, "Are you kin to so-and-so, so-and-so?" And I'd say, "No." "Well, I thought you was, but you know, you just raised together and you just seem like."
Was it like the country in that respect? Was it like being back on the farm?
No, it wasn't. Not to me. Of course, you know, when we moved here, they had a cow lot down there where.
Did you have a cow?
No, I'm scared of cows. I don't want no. My grandma had, well, my mom and them had one after we moved here. And I'd go with my aunt over there every night. After Grandma Lindsay got to where she couldn't go, I'd go with her, and she'd try to learn me how to milk that cow, and I was scared of her. I never could get a drop of milk.
Were strangers? Were people from outside?
Well, I guess a lot of them was.
But there were people that you knew?
Oh, no, if they didn't live here, I didn't know them.
But
Or didn't work in the mill.
But were there people that lived here that went down on the picket line?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of Dolphers lived here in the village then. My husband had he had 3 brothers that was Dolphers. And I guess they is down there.
Okay, that's during the Doffer strike.
Yeah.
And the one thing I still don't have straight is whether the Doffer strike and the 34 strike were the same strike.
No, it wasn't the
They were
same.
different.
No.
And Mr. Harris's throat got cut during
Mr. Wallace.
Wallace. When did his throat get?
During the Dolpher strike, I'm pretty sure. He might have been going into work. Do you remember? Seemed like he was going to go into work, and Roy Johnson tried to stop
Yeah, he
him.
was trying to go into work because he didn't believe in the strike, I don't think, and he wanted to work. And I can remember him talking about it when I was real little.
Yeah.
And I was born in '39. But now Elsie says she can remember in the '34 strike, the Whittiers coming out and talking to the people, and then they'd go back in, and they'd come out and talk some more and go back in. And you remember them doing that?
Well, yeah, it seemed like I Seemed like I was down there once or twice now since you mentioned that when they come out and talk. I guess they're trying to get us to go back to work.
That was sort of like a general strike. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Do you think people felt powerful being out on the picket line?
Was powerful.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, do you think it made people feel like they had some say in their job when they were out on that strike?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what they thought. I don't like strikes. It's just like that abortion thing. Some's against it and some's for it. And it don't do nothing but cause trouble, I guess. As far as I know, that strike didn't do no good, because it was when the 8-hour law was passed, you know, that's when we started making more money than we'd been making. How many people you talk to around here?
3.
3. Who was the other 2?
I spoke to Elsie Turner, and I spoke to Billy Greer, and I spoke to Helen Turner.
Well, Billy Greer, did he know pretty good about it?
He you know, a little bit, not too much. You know what he has, though? He has his one of his pay stubs from 1935, his pay envelope.
Really, I got some in there somewhere.
You do?
One of my husband's, I don't have one of mine. But I don't know where it's at now. If I did, I'd show it to you. We used to, during the war, we had to wear badges, and I kept them. You know, you had to have a badge to get in at the gate. I guess on account they're afraid that somebody'd go in there and start shooting or something during the war. I don't know why we had to wear them, but we did. And I kept them for a long time, and then I think I give them to my son.
Did they give you, what did they give you at holiday time?
Well, they never give us nothing till Mr. Scott come here, and he'd give us, you could take a turkey or a ham, or $5, wasn't it? I think that's the way it was. We always got, well, first time we got a turkey, and I think the next time we got a ham, but that was cut out after he died. But that's the only time
Did you get any sort of insurance, health insurance, or medical insurance from
Yeah, we, of course, we had to pay it. They didn't pay it, but we took it out, and they took you took out the insurance, and then they'd take it out of your paycheck, yeah. But we didn't always have that. For years, we didn't have a thing. There's Dr. Greer. He was a good old doctor, and he'd walk and come around here. If he was down in here to see somebody sick, 9 times out of 10, he'd go to nearly every house around. He's come to my house many a time when we didn't call him, you know. He'd just be coming around. Just good.
Was that the mill doctor?
Well, I guess he was the only one I could remember.
And the mill paid for that?
Oh, no, you're supposed to pay him.
Did you get a pension from them?
No. I was working on my 49th year when it closed down, and I didn't get a dime. Not one. If I'd had a job and worked somewhere else as long as I worked down there, I'd have a good living now.
How do you feel about that?
I feel bad about it. I thought, I didn't have to work nowhere else. Never wanted to work nowhere else. I didn't think about ever getting old. I guess. If I had my time to go over and know then what I know now, I probably would have went somewhere else, because when the mill closed down, I think everybody that wanted a job done better after they uh, went to another job because most of them was like me. They didn't think they could ever work anywhere else but Whittier Mill because most of them like me that didn't have no education.
Where'd you get any of your education that you got?
Chattahoochee School, old two-story brick schoolhouse right up there above the church, right even with the church.
How long did you get to go there?
Oh, I think I went to the 6th grade before I had to quit and go to work. My aunt got sick and my mama, you know, I had to go to work because she had to quit and see after her. And it's hard to make ends meet, you know. And so that's when I went to work. But that schoolhouse up there, it was two-story. And on this side of it, there was it was a high bank, and it looked like a place about that wide. You could walk around it, as ready to fall off there, it looked like. But that's where I went to school at.
You learned how to read and write?
Huh?
You learned how to read and write?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much. I still can't write good. But it's on account of my crooked fingers mostly.
Why do you think your fingers are crooked?
Well, I guess it's from working. See, some of them bobbins in the mill was great big ones, and some of them was about big as your finger. And they was 3 different sizes of them. And I had to work on all of them. Sometimes I'd be on the little ones, and then I'd be on the next to the biggest ones, and then on the biggest ones. And I reckon that's how come my joints big.
Do they hurt now, your hands?
Sometimes. That one got sore about 2 weeks ago.
Well, I thank you very much.
Well, I wasn't much help, but
I think you were.
you know
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
well, it takes you a long time to remember everything. Me and Hendricks sit up here sometime. We'd be trying to think of somebody's name. He'd say, "Oh, you know them, where they work and all that," and we couldn't think of the name. He'd call Mr. Pittman down there, and they'd get to thinking, and they couldn't think. And they was trying to think of somebody's name one night, and Henry woke me up about 2 o'clock in the morning and told me that man's name. He said, "Don't you let me forget it for morning. I got to tell Willie about that."
You remember that man's name?
No. But people that lived over there off of Bolton Road, them stucco houses belonged to Whittier Mill. And we lived in there a long time. There's 2 rooms downstairs and 2 upstairs. And my uncle lived in the one side of it. And we lived over there a long time.
You like it over there?
Well, I did then, but I wouldn't like it now. I like this part.
This is the new mill or the old mill? This is the old mill village, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. This is such a pleasant porch.
I love it. I don't want to live nowhere else.
I don't blame you.
Well, a lot of people say, "Why don't you get your apartment?" I'm scared of high places. I'd have to get one on the bottom. I'm afraid of high. I just can't stand them.
You're doing real well here, trust me.
And,
this is lovely.
And furthermore than that, I don't draw enough money to pay rent on an apartment. And if I sold my house and depended on that, I might outlive my money. And then what would I do? I want to die here. A lot of people come by here. I still cut my grass. A lot of people. Inez Overstreet told me one time, "Elizabeth, somebody's going to come along, find you dead up there sometime out there cutting that grass." I said, "Well, it'll be an easy death and I'll be happy." And I would. It'd be a whole lot easier than laying with cancer or stroke or something like that. I hope I can go that quick.
I hope so too, if that's what you want.
Huh?
I hope you get everything that you want.
Well, I can't have my way about that. There's a higher power than me. But I'd like to.
It's so pleasant here. I hope I have a house like this one day.
Well, it's old. Well, I don't care how old it is. It's mine.
Well, I guess that's what the mill gave you, huh?
No, we bought it. But I made the money to pay for it in the mill. Yeah. Yeah, but they give us 12 years to pay for them, but we paid ours off before the 12 year was up. We still owed some on it, and Henry was fixing to retire, and so we just paid the house off before he retired. 'Cause we know we couldn't afford to pay notes on the house after you retired.
All these tapes that I'm making, I'm going to give them to Don. And he's going to keep them, like in a little library.
Well, he might tell you something I've told him that I hadn't told you. He hadn't been. He used to come down here often, but he come by here one day this week, and
That's what I'm going to do. It's a good idea, right? He'll appreciate them.
yeah, he will.
Well, he's sort of keeping a local history. So.
Yeah, I give him some old pictures. I didn't give them to him. I let him have them, and he made me some more, and he kept them in
Which
that.
pictures were those?
Of people that lived here, my family, and different people, the old ball club, and I can't remember what all.
Well, I'll take. Maybe he'll show them to me.
He's got them out there, in that place where he works.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen. Is there anything else you want to tell me about the Whittier Mill or this place, or why you're so strong?
Why I'm so strong? Well, I don't know why I'm so strong. I'm not strong, I'm just little. I ain't never been fat. The doctor said the reason that I was in good health, he told my daughter this. He says she's always worked and she's not fat. And Ruth was fat. That's my daughter. And but I'm gonna work. I'm gonna keep going just as long as I can. I don't care if I die cutting grass or what I'm doing. That's the way, that's the easy way to go. Because I tell you, when you see somebody die with cancer that suffers 3 solid years, you'll realize then what it is. And
You've seen that, huh?
yeah, my daughter, that's the hardest thing I ever seen in my life. She couldn't eat and she couldn't do nothing. And she's always a big eater. Couldn't get enough morphine in her, couldn't get enough dope in it or ease her. And I'd heap rather die of cutting grass or if I had to have either one and I could pick it, I'd pick heart trouble before I would cancer. Of course, anybody's liable to die with a heart attack that's never had heart trouble. But I don't want to be paralyzed. I don't want to be sick. I don't mind dying.
Well, listen, you look great.
I don't mind dying. I just don't want to be sick. I don't want nobody to have to wait on me. Now I'm not independent. They say I am. And I don't care what people calls it, but I just don't want to be sick.
You know what? Talking the way you're talking, and obviously the way that you keep your grass cut and you're so trim, you're not going to have to worry about that.
You think I'll die cutting grass?
I just think you're
Well,
going to
there's
be
two
active
men.
for a long time. That's all I think.
You think I'm going to keep on living forever?
Not forever. No one's going to live forever, but for a very long time.
somebody, I don't know who there was, all this is hearsay, somebody in my family lived to be 101 years old. I said, God, I hope I don't take after him. I don't mind dying. I believe I'd go to heaven when I
I
die.
bet you will.
But I don't want to be sick.
Let me ask you one more question, and we'll wrap this all up, okay? The day that the mill closed, you started to tell me about
Oh yeah, and my husband, he come to meet me in the car every evening at 3:30 when I got off, and they kept us in there a while after the mill, after we got off, and
it. Were you the last shift of that day?
no, there was another one. See, they run 2 shifts, 3 shifts. I guess it's still running three, first, second, and third, and so they kept us in the side the mill gate or shipping room or something. I don't know where we was at to tell us about it. Was closing down.
You mean you didn't know until that moment?
No, we didn't know till then. But I done told Henry I wasn't going to never work anymore. I said, next year I'm not going to try to work till I make what I can. I said, it's getting so hard till I just can't hold out. I was really tired then and working, and he's sitting out there in front of the gate in the car waiting on me, and he wondered and wondered why everybody hadn't come out. And when I got in the car, I was crying. He says, what's the matter with y'all? I said, Henry, I said I never was going to work more, but I didn't mean it. And I was just bawling. I had to cry. It was hard. It was hard to give it up. Because I was raised down there in that mill. And he says, well, how come they're closing down? I said, I don't know what I said then. I just kept on crying. But I just had to cry. But I ain't the only one. There's a lot of people cried. But I did go back and work to it, the last day, I reckon.
Well, when was the last day?
I believe that was the last day. Oh, they kept some on working. And some of them drawed $80 or $90 a week that had worked a long time, and their unemployment too. And I went down there to put in for mine. Somebody told me to. I didn't know. And so I went, and she told me if I had worked one day out of three more weeks, I could have got it. And I'd worked there all my life, and I didn't get a dime. They didn't even thank you, I don't reckon. I don't remember if they did. I don't think.
Did they have a dinner? Nothing.
No. Sort of.
Well, when the mill was up and running, what did you hear sounds in the village? What did you hear in the village? If the inside of the mill was working, right? And you were on the outside around here, did you hear the mill running?
Not unless you're close to it, you might hear it. You could tell when it was time for the second shift to get off because cars would start going down there. And then at 11:30 they'd start, them who'd worked the second shift was going home, and them who's working the third was going down there. And they had a whistle, was that what it was? They had a whistle, they used to blow it. And when you had a baby, you could go back to work and they'd let you go home every morning at 9:30 or 10 o'clock and let it nurse, and then you was off for dinner time, and you let it nurse then, and then about 2 or something in the evening they'd let you go back. They was really good to people then.
I've heard stories of little girls that would bring their brother or sister to the gate, and the mother would be on the other side of the gate, and they'd bring the baby up, and the mother would put her breast out the gate, and the baby would nurse.
Well, they didn't do us. We got to go.
Home?
Yep, they let you come home. If
That
you
was
live.
not very nice, was it, to not allow them to have to do like that? That's terrible.
Well, Henry's sister lived over there where Andy Mae Evans is living now, and we lived over there in that Wallace, where Wallace lives. We lived in that house. And she kept Ruth and Son when they was little for me to work, and I walked from the mill up there when they was nursing. Yeah, I'd already forgot about it. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Is your man gonna win?
I never have won a vote, I don't think. It don't matter to me. I'll have as good a one as anybody else does. Yeah, sometimes it makes me mad. What was I telling you?
You're just telling me about a cousin and nursing, I guess.
Oh yeah, I walked from the mill up there, and it had a store out there, and everybody know every woman is going home let their baby nurse, you know, and they'd give you some money to go to the store and get them some crackers and things, and I'd go out there and get a whole lot and take it back to them when I went back. But of course
I never knew about that.
You didn't. Lord, you're learning something, Ma.
Mm-hmm.
But that was nice of them now. They was good to you.
Did they pay you for that time that you went
Yeah.
out to nurse your baby?
They had what they called a spare hand that helped everybody, you know, if they needed help on their job, if they got behind. And she would run our sides till we come home and let the baby nurse. And them people that lived over yonder in Lairtown, that's what it was called then. They sent a man on a wagon and their wives or whoever was fixing their dinner, they'd bring theirs back down here on that wagon, and they'd have the name on their own basket, you know.
Did the children ever tote the dinners down to their parents?
No, I don't guess they did, because everybody that lived in here, you know, went home to dinner, except the people that lived over there.
Did black people work in the mills?
No, nothing but to sweep. And they had one black man that worked in the office. He was real good. He worked there for years and years. And there was a little house right down. The old Whittier house used to be over on the hill over there, and there's a little house kindly down in the holler, and he lived in that house. And nobody never did think. And Will Gladman, I don't know where he worked at, but he rode a motorcycle. I guess he worked in the mill. I don't
He was
know.
black?
Yeah, he was black, and he had children. And we lived in the house, the one that Sally Kelly lives in now. We lived in it, but it was down there in front of the mill. And we lived in 3 rooms, and Luther Troglin and Maddie, his wife, lived in the 2. It was a 5-room house. And them Gladman kids, we had a level backyard. And them Gladman girls, they were black. They'd come down there and play hopscotch.
Did they live in the neighborhood? They lived down in the hollow?
Yeah, it was right there at the mill where they lived.
They were the only black people that lived in the village?
Yeah. Him and that one that worked in the offices were the only ones that ever lived in the house around here of black people. But they had black people to sweep the floors, you know, and things like that, but they never did have no trouble, you know. We just talked just like we are, you know, with them black people. It didn't bother us. It didn't me. I don't reckon did anybody else. I never heard of it.
Later on, when the time that the mill closed, they were working inside, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they was working inside then. There wasn't too many of them. But I was working on the wool side when it closed down, or when I retired. Well, I worked on it after I retired too, and there was one worked over there on the first shift. She was a sweeper, but I think she kept on raising sand till they put her to spinning. She wanted to make more money, but she couldn't do it. She stayed on the job, and they kept her on it. But they had somebody helping her just about all the time. The spare hand practically run her job. Eleanor, I can remember her name, but I don't
The
know.
spare hand.
No, Virginia Brackett was spare hand.
Okay, let me ask you one more question, and that's it, okay?
Okay.
Could you, if you can, tell me what the sounds were like inside the mill?
Oh, it was awful in some
Okay.
places.
Try and do it.
Oh, I can't do that. The
What
Brownells made the most noise.
What did the spinning room sound like?
Well, you could just tell it was running. You know, every frame had a motor on it, and they practically was all running at the same time, but I didn't pay that much attention to it. But over there where my husband worked, he got to where he couldn't hear, and that was the awfulest place. I think that's what caused him to get hard of hearing. But it was noisy over there, because it was putting yarn on great big old spools, you know.
Did you ever get the feeling that people look down on cotton mill people?
Yeah, I still do. I think people looks down on this village now. I really do.
I agree with you.
Say amen, can't you? Yeah, I believe it. I still believe people looks down on cotton. And some of the best people in the world worked in Whittier Mills. They sure was. They was raised in it. Now, there's been some good people work down there.
Why do people look down on cotton mill people?
'Cause you got cotton on you when you worked, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know why they'd want it. But they do it. Yeah, they do it. There's always something that somebody thinks they're better than somebody else.
I felt it all my life, Elizabeth. I guess you have too.
Yep.
But you know, it didn't. I just thought, well, that's their problem.
Yeah.
That's their problem.
That's right. But I don't know why people would want to look down. Well, now they has been sorry people worked in mills, and I guess everywhere else. But the way the things is going now, the priest is even sinning. They ought to let them marry, oughtn't they? But anyway, I just don't know why. But people still call this cotton mill village, which it is. But I'm proud of it. I ain't ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of spending my life here. I'm proud that I have.
Well, there's good and bad people anywhere you go.
Yeah, in offices or mills or
That's true.
wherever.
You know, I know a lot of stuff that went on in offices. That's where I've worked all my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
And so, it, you know, it's hard, honest work. I don't know why. Maybe they thought, well, they must be kind of dumb to work there.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
I know one thing, there's a lot of other places you could have worked and you might not have been treated as well and you might have worked harder.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. But I'm proud of spending my life here. I really am.
But I just think that anything that's honest and decent, you don't have to be ashamed of it.
No, I don't either. Well, people that worked there, they was as good a people as ever was, has worked there, and I know that to be true, because I've done forgot a lot of them, and all of the older ones, most all of the older ones is dead. They ain't too many of them left now, but they was some really good people worked there, and I'm proud I spent my life here. I really am. And I feel like that I'm as good in the sight of God if I don't have a good education as people that's got one. Or I'm proud that of what little I do have. I'm proud of what I draw. I don't have too much, but I'm proud of that. Don't know what I'd do without it. but I'm still the same thing. And I don't believe if I had money, I'd change. I don't believe I would.
Well, I think probably the reason most of the people that worked in the mills didn't leave, you know, they started there young and had families, and
It was a good place
they
to
couldn't
work.
accumulate enough to go out and buy a home of their own.
Well, I didn't want to go nowhere else.
And
Never
they
thought
were,
about it.
You know, happy with what they were doing.
Yeah,
So,
it was a good place to work, and as long as people was making a living, I guess they just didn't think about trying to go somewhere else. Of course, I might have, since I'm older and know what it means not to have much, but I'm satisfied with what I got. I'm thankful for what I got. Thankful for what little money I draw, and I don't know what I'd do without it. But
Did in church or anything, did the preacher ever talk to you about, you know, hard work and what it meant to work in a place, you know, work in a place so hard even if you weren't making very much?
Preacher Tribble's, well, I remember one preacher before him, but Preacher Tribble was a good man. And he didn't look down on cotton mill people, honest. I don't believe he did, because he went through this village twice a year visiting. Do you remember it? And there was a lot of kids in here. And he'd go through here, and when kids, he'd go up kids, you know, or they'd gang up around him, he'd give them all a penny apiece. And he tried to go through here twice a year. And he come see you when you was sick. He was a good man.
Well, it's certainly a solid place now.
I think that the mills that have shut down, the ones that sold the homes to the people, I think that makes up for a lot of the shortcomings of
Yeah,
working in the mill.
Yeah.
Now the ones like out in Cabbagetown that didn't get to buy their homes and spent their life out there, I don't know, that's sort of sad.
Well, I don't think Exposition
Well, they
got
did get to buy their homes, I think, didn't they? No?
Some of them did.
Maybe in recent years, but back when we bought these, they didn't. They were, some man bought them all up from the mill company when they closed that up, and he rented them to those people. And he didn't keep them up very well at all. But now, here, lately, they might have, some of them bought their homes.
Yeah, I saw two. They showed it on TV a time or two. There's several of them old women out there that I heard talk. They're sitting on the porch. But Exposition, they didn't buy their houses either, did they? Yeah, I guess, did they?
Now, they tore those down.
I think, yeah, they tore them down.
Sears bought that property.
Yeah,
Tore it down.
I think they tore them down. But when they started to sell these houses, I tried to get Henry to go somewhere else and buy one, and he wouldn't do it. He says, I like there and I'm going to stay. And there's one down yonder on the corner of this side of Butler Way. I said, well, let's see if Great Hales don't buy that and let's buy it. I'm not going to move, and we can't move nowhere else because I can't see how to drive when it's raining and before dark. I mean, after dark and before daylight every morning. So we stayed.
Right here in this house.
Right here in this house. I've lived in several houses around here. A lot of them before I married. I lived in a whole lot before I married, and several since I married.
Well, why don't you show me this one, okay? You show me around this one just a little
Yeah.
bit? Okay. Thank
know.
you.
You're welcome. I'll show you. I don't mind you seeing it.
Okay. I already saw your bed. It's beautiful.
Well, it ain't cleaned up because I ain't done nothing this week.
Oh,
Okay.
Elizabeth, you ought to see what she came up. We're just throw things around. We've got so much in that little house.
Well, my
Too much
room's is
stuff.
bigger than yours.
Really?
Mine's too big. They're 16 by 16. And the ceiling's 50 feet high, it seems like.